Hey, you guys, and welcome in. My name's Tom, your neighborhood butcher. Today, we're going to talk about different types of organic beef. We're going to try to break down the stereotypical thought of what grass-fed beef is in comparison to natural beef. We want to look at these as a butcher. I've been seeing some of these new descriptions on our labels as different organic and natural beef products come out. Lately, I've been seeing this grain finished. So it's a grass fed product that's grain finished, or I'm seeing a grass fed that's finished. So they're starting to use some different marketing tools on organic products to try to, bring you in or even give you a little more information on how that cow was raised and, was it naturally raised or was it organically raised? Grass-fed, natural. So there's a lot of things to look at when you're looking at an organic or a natural raised steak, hamburger, chicken, porks, all these different items. Man, there's a lot of marketing out there, and they're always trying to trick your eyes into buying something that maybe isn't as good a quality as another product, or just a slightly cheaper price, but still getting a very high gross profit. So let's go over some of these things and distill some of this fact from fiction. Okay, so true organic standards from the USDA organic, website, overseen by the USDA Natural Organic Program, authorized certifying agents meeting all USDA organic regulations. Fed 100% certified organic feed, except for trace minerals and vitamins used to meet the animal's nutritional requirements, managed without antibiotics, added growth hormones, mammalian or avian byproducts, or other prohibited feed ingredients, urea, manure, or arsenic compounds. That's just your basics. So here's some more basics to true USDA organic animals. So organic livestock must be raised in a way that accommodates their health and natural behaviors, access to outdoors, shade, clear, dry shelters, space for exercise, fresh air, clean drinking water, and direct sunlight. Organic management reduces stress, reduces the incidence for disease, and supporting animals' welfare. These are basic necessities of this animal. One thing I found out as I was reading through some of these organic standards is after an animal reaches the 120-day mark for grazing minimum, does that mean it no longer needs to be on the pasture? So if that livestock is out in the pasture for 120 days, it could get the organic stamp. That's just one clarification, and then one way they can kind of sway the rules a little bit. Per USDA organic regulations, the grazing season is the period of time where pasture is available for grazing due to natural precipitation and irrigation. Outside the grazing season, ruminants must have free access to the outdoors year round except under specific conditions. Slaughter stocks are exempt from 30% DMI from pasture requirements for the last fifth of their lives, up to 120 days. So there's some interesting standards that you got to watch out for when you think you're buying organic. Are you really buying organic? I mean, has it truly been grass fed its whole life and then finished with grass its whole life? And we'll look through some of those definitions of grass fed, finished, natural, grass fed, finished, organic, grass fed, finished, natural. We'll look at some of these definitions a little bit closer as we get a little farther into this because it's kind of interesting. You really do want to pay attention to that labeling because there's the standards can be swayed a little bit. If they put that natural label on the product, but it's grass fed and finished, well, that means that that grass wasn't necessarily organic. And it might have been grass fed, but it could have been hay fed. It could have pesticides and ureas and manures and stuff that aren't organically certified to grow their pastures. So, there's some interesting things to look at when you're really trying to figure out what is the best product for you, depending on what your standards are for what you want to eat and what you want to put into your body. So, this is an interesting site. This is from Parker County Beef Company. And if you look on its webpage, it really shows you some very good definitions of all this different terminology that's put on the packaging as either marketing or true fact for what they're trying to sell you. So grass-fed and finished beef, what terms actually mean. So let's go through grass-fed, the labeling gap. Under current USDA guidelines, beef can be labeled grass-fed if an animal was raised on grass for a portion of its life. Understand that, portion of its life. This leaves significant gap. An animal can be started on grass to grain, with most grains, they're not organic, for final months of its life in a feedlot and still carry the grass-fed label. The final months before slaughter are when most grain-fed derived fat accumulates, meaning a grass-fed label does not guarantee that the fat profile or flavor reflects fully grass-fed based diet. That's a good, that's a really good stipulation there. You need to pay attention because of that 120-day gap. So all it has to be out on a field is for 120 days. And then it could be finished with a grain or a corn that's maybe genetically modified, or it has used pesticides that aren't quite covered under that truly organic grass-fed label. You gotta be careful. Okay, so here's a new one. I've been seeing this grass-fed and finished foraged for the entire life. No grains was introduced at any stage, including finishing period. The fat profile of the grass finished animal reflects the diet across the animal's full life. Higher omega-3s, fatty acids relative to omega-6, higher CLA, conjugated linoleic acid content, and a leaner overall fat composition than grain finished beef. This is meaningful nutritional and flavor difference, not a marketing distinction. So this is a good thing, but one big difference is, are they putting the natural on there or are they putting the organic on there? So if it's an organic grass-fed and finished, you know these are natural fields, no pesticides, organic grass that they've been fed on. Or if it's natural, it could be fields that have that hay in them, or they've introduced hay to them. They also could have pesticides and things to help those fields and pastures grow. That might not be exactly what you want to put in your body. So this is an interesting one too. Grass-fed versus grass-finished versus grass-finished, the nutritional differences. So the differences between feeding systems are not only in flavor and texture. The nutritional composition of beef itself shifts depending on what animals ate. Here's what the research shows. Omega-3 and omega-6 ratio. Grass-fed beef consistently shows more flavorful omega-3s and omega-6 ratio than grain-fed. Grain-finished animals, omega-6 fatty acids accumulate at a much higher rate because corn and grains are higher in linoleic acid and precursor of omega-6. The grass-finished beef ratio of omega-6 to omega-3s are typically in the range of 2.1 to 3.1. In grain-finished beef, the ratio can be higher at 7.1 or higher. Most nutrition researchers consider the lower omega-6 to omega-3 ratio to be beneficial for cardiovascular inflammatory health markers. So it's better for us as we consume it if it's truly grass-fed. This is a good thing. So if you do any research on what's good for our body, omega-3s and omega-6s are very good. Omega-6 is a CLA content. Conjugated linoleic acid, CLA, is a naturally occurring fatty acid found in beef and dairy from ruminant animals. Grass-finished beef contains significantly higher levels of CLA compared to grass-finished beef. Some studies show 2 to 3 times more CLA has been studied for its potential role in the grass-based diet supports higher CLA production than grain-fed diets. This is a win. They always say that you should be eating salmon to get your omega-3s and omega-6s. Well, if we could eat our beef that's raised better, then we could diversify our diets, which would be amazing if they would just raise our cattle better. So this is a good thing. And when you can find that truly grass-fed, grass-finished organic product, That's what you want to pay the money for, because then you can diversify your diet a bit. Still have that lean beef, get the omega-3s and omega-6s. So, when you're having your beef night, your salmon night, and your chicken night, that you're still getting the good, healthy fats that our bodies need to help us be healthy. Let's take a look at some more things. So let's identify what grass-fed means. This term can legally describe beef from an animal that spent part of its life on grass, from transitioning to a feedlot. It's not equivalent to grass finished without additional verification or clarification from the producers. It is not a reliable indicator of full life forage feeding. So just because it says grass fed, this is what I was talking about earlier, it could be natural grass fed. But if it's not finished with grass or it's finished with grain, then they're trying to use that fattier corn supplement or grain supplement to raise the fat content to help finish that beef and give it a little more fat quicker than doing the grass fed, where it's a little slower process to get to the fat content that you want. Say your select, your prime, or your choice beef. Actually, it's select, choice, prime. Let me say it correctly. So then we have grass-fed and finished. So let's go over that definition. This is a term that describes what most buyers think grass-fed means. It means no grains at any stage in the animal's life. If you want to avoid feedlot finished beef, this is the phrase to look for. Even better, when that claim is accompanied by a third-party certification, that's that organic certification that you're looking for, or when you buy directly from a ranch that can explain their practices. This is a biggie. This is what I was talking about. You don't want the natural grassed finished. You want the organic grassed finished, which is going to be truly what you want to get those omega-3s and omega-6s. Pasture raised describes how and where the animal lived, not what it ate. The pasture raised animal have access to open land rather than being confined in a feedlot. However, pasture raised animals can still supplement with grains. The term addresses living conditions more than diet. It is a positive sign, but not an equivalent to grass fed. That's good to know. And then here we go, natural. Let's go over that definition. Under USDA rules, natural means beef is minimally processed. It contains no artificial ingredients, no added color. It says nothing about how the animal was raised, what it ate, or whether it received antibiotics or hormones. Natural is one of the least informative labels on the beef package. So when I see something in that beautiful, light green organic packaging that says natural grass-fed finished, this is what raises the red flags, in my opinion. So let's be cautious of that. Do a little more reading on the back of the package and see if that packaging describes how it was raised, and look for those organics certificates, those little organic symbols from third-party places that certify organic beef. Let's look at organic and the term organic. USDA certified organic beef comes from animals that were raised on certified organic land, fed certified organic feed, and not given antibiotics or synthetic hormones. Organic does not mean grass finished. Organic beef can be finished on organic grains. The organic certification speaks to feed inputs and land management, not necessarily the feeding methods. You can have organic grain finished beef and non-organic grass finished beef. They are usually different claims. So you got to be careful with that organic labeling. I mean, there's a lot to go over. Is it organic grass fed, or is it organic grass fed grain finished? Is it organic? Is it natural grass fed finished? So there's so many of these terms that we just need to be leery of. Hey guys, I just want to take a little bit of time and hopefully explain the differences in natural to organic to grass-fed. Me personally, as a butcher that's been in the field for 30 plus years, I've been noticing these differences in labeling, and it's just marketing for a large swath of these products. And they're just trying to get you to buy something that maybe isn't raised as quality as you're looking for, at just a little higher price to make a little more gross profit. So if you really want to buy true organic, grass-fed, finished product with a third-party organic label or symbol, That is the true best of the best. I mean, if you talk to farmers that really raise their cattle on grass fed and then they butcher it and slaughter it right from basically the pasture to your refrigerator and then onto your dinner table. If you talk to those folks, that is by far the best tasting beef and the best tasting beef for you, as far as the omega 3s and the omega 6s. So I hope that I helped with some of the myths of natural to organic to grass fed. Hey, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for spending some time with me. Please like and subscribe. That's what makes it all go around for me to continue to make this content and bring you this good information, or hopefully what I think is good information and what will help you when you're picking out meats for your family and looking for those good, healthy products. Hey, I'll see you next time. Bye now.